Zwide Ndwandwe. You're watching From the Cape with Bass, hosted by Daniel Peterson.
Good day everyone, today we are with great bass player Zwide Ndwandwe. Zwide, thank you so much for making time for me and making time for From the Cape with Bass.
Thanks, Daniel.
I have a few questions that I want to ask you pertaining to this beautiful instrument that you have here. But
Sure.
my first question,
Yes.
what was your first musical experience growing up as a child?
I had to have a long think about this. But I do think one of the earliest memories I remember is listening to a Joy Celebration CD. It was Joy Celebration of the South African Gospel Choir. And I think it was, I'm going to show my age here, Joy Celebration 3, but I'm going to do the reverse. I'm very young. I'm not old. It was Joy Celebration 3, and I had to have been about 6 or 7 years old. This was like the early 2000s. And I think I remember listening to one of the songs on there and taking these fake cricket wickets that I had as a toy gift my parents gave me, and going on my mom's couch and basically pretending I was the drummer to what was being played on the CD, because it was my favorite CD as a child that my parents would play for myself and my brothers. And I remember that moment feeling like this exhilaration of the drums as this instrument, and I'm mimicking what they're doing. But children are very intuitive, so they connect to things, and I would like to think that there was something about that song or that moment for me that really made me feel like this is what I can see myself doing, even if it's not on like a professional level. But there was something about the exhilaration of playing on my mom's couch, pretending I was this drummer for a band that sticks with me quite a lot.
Wow, that is incredible. So why did you start playing the bass? How did it come about?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I like to say that the bass chose me. Because I was playing drums, funnily enough, several years later after that childhood memory. I started playing drums at a high school level, was learning music theory with the drums as my main instrument. But there was a period of time where the bass as an instrument kind of stuck out to me a little bit more in songs. When you're listening to a song and you listen out for that instrument that is your instrument. I'm sure a lot of such as yourself, bassists, when you hear the bass is the first thing that sticks to your ear. I remember there was just a moment in my time as a musician who was starting out, where suddenly I was just hearing the bass more, and it maybe had to do with the fact that as a drummer we get told that you and the bassist, you're in a marriage.
Yeah, definitely.
So there was something about listening to that instrument that made me kind of ditch the marriage and actually just go join that. But it happened by chance, because I didn't necessarily publicize that the bass was becoming something that I was interested in. So I was doing school, and I was at the music department, and the head of the music department at my high school comes to me one day to say, "Hey, listen, Zwide, the bassist for the high school jazz band is going to matriculate next year, so we need a replacement. Can you start coming to the rehearsals?" And I was like, "That's fine and well, man, but I play drums, And she was like, "Yeah, that's fine. Just come to the first rehearsal. We'll have someone show you the notes, and we'll just take it from there." And it's honestly like she knew my thoughts. I guess it was like one of those divine moments that you can't really explain. But it really felt like fate, because it's like she literally knew that was where my heart was being led to. And that was about in 2011, 2012, and so it's been about 10, 12 years of playing bass, because my high school music head of department literally took a chance on me and knew that I wasn't a bassist, but just wanted me to play bass.
Wow. So
that's how it happened for me, and I ended up ditching the drums, which I'm sad about. I wish I had stuck to it just as much as I played bass, but I definitely knew I needed to play this instrument, so that would be my answer to that.
Okay. So that basically goes into the next question, musical education.
Yeah.
So you self-taught on the bass, or was it that teacher that just pushed you in that corner and said, "Hey, you can play this instrument"?
I mean, man, I like to get deep, and I hope I'm not too cheesy or corny by saying this, but I guess through me growing up and learning from the musical masters and certain heroes of mine, and understanding the relationship of people and the music that we listen to, and interrogating those things, one has to also ask himself, is anyone ever really self-taught? You may have not had formal kind of training, classical training, but self implies this idea that I just picked it up on myself, no one helped me, I figured it on my own, which couldn't be further from the truth, To give you a practical example, I was playing bass at school through the help of the previously mentioned bassist who's matriculating the year after I'll be joining in, and he would just show me at every lesson this is what I was doing. I'll just study him, shadow him, and I was also then starting to play at the local church in my community. And I was the youngest, so it was a church that had a roster of musicians, and basically there was like a group of bassists, and they basically just helped me, took me under the wing, helped me sharpen my chops a little bit, give me an understanding of how to feel confident on stage. It was really just a communal effort into getting me geared up as a bassist. In fact, actually, that church also is the place that gave me my first bass and my amp. And I guess I would say that, and then I would still basically just be picking up from those things. No formal kind of lesson where I'd be paying, like someone who's giving me a lesson that was based on an hour's worth or anything like that. But then, as I was doing that, I would meet someone who would become very influential in how I play. There's a gentleman from Limpopo. His name is Daki, and he was friends with my mom, and he basically was like, look, I would like to give you some lessons. I see you play bass, and maybe just to help you how to groove a little bit. And he took me from here to here, basically. Through his tutelage, I started to understand like the way to play in a manner that I would like to play as well. But I will also say, every artist I've ever listened to, every bassist I've ever loved, I consider them a teacher. When I'm listening to learn. I'm not listening just because for the sake of indulgence. I'm really trying to pick up, how do they do this? How do they do that? And honestly, I believe that the music that we do is about an imparting of knowledge and education, that what we believe as Africans, we pass it down, it's an inheritance. That's what this music feels like for me. So that would be my answer to if you are self-taught or not. I know it's a long-winded answer, but that's my answer. That's my answer.
That's perfect, and I can't write that for you. I can't tell you what to say.
No.
It's your story.
Yes.
So tell me about the albums that you've worked on, and also the artists that you are playing for and performing with.
So I guess my main project would be this band called Kujenga, which is a 7-piece black improvised music band from Cape Town, which includes myself and my twin brother who plays keys, over to Ndwandwe, Thane Smith on guitar, Matthew Wrightfield on saxophone, Bongo Masula on trumpet, and Tamsin Fricks on trombone, Skumbuzo Kamat on drums. It's a septet. We've been going since 2017. The 4-piece rhythm section was the beginning iteration of it. Then we moved on to a septet in 2021, and we've dropped an album called In the Wake as that configuration of the band. I guess I've worked with musicians such as Francesca Biancoli, here from Cape Town as well, but from Italy. Who else is a good question? My mom is a musician, so we have a family band. So myself, my brother who I've just mentioned, and our youngest brother who plays lead guitar. We played for my mom in a project called Mabongi Tusi and the Oaks.
Wow.
It's African music, gospel, Afro jazz band of my mom's music, who has her sons as a backing band.
Wow, that's so cool.
Those are some that come to top of my list. Very, very broad range of local musicians who are also starting out here in the industry, have played different kinds of genres, sometimes even hip hop and electronic music, so venturing off of the genres that I'm normally playing at. But I guess those are the ones I'd like to name drop for now.
Oh, name drop.
Yeah.
Oh, should we want to? So tell me about the gear that you're using.
Yeah, so it's a Chord Artisan 5A Plus. I really love it. I got it in 2022 from another bassist who actually had not used it that very long, and was just looking to sell it second hand. I'm not a gear junkie. I'm not a nerd like that. So I can't tell you too much about all of its like attributes and its pickups. I believe it's earning gold strings as well. Yeah, I've just been a fan of its tone, a fan of its, I guess, its growl. You know, the deepness, the depth of it. I really wanted to be able to play like some of my favorite bassists locally in South Africa as well, ranging from Benjamin Jefter to Begam Tetwa, you know. A lot of musicians who play within the gospel and jazz, sometimes a little bit of the funk scene, basically to be able to bring the kind of sound that I felt like I was connected to. More than anything, actually, the biggest kind of person who I was trying to really mimic in the way I played bass, and I needed the right bass for that, is Fanasu. Wow. You know, he's probably the most important bassist to how I play.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm grateful for this baby. Yeah, it's just been a fun time, and yeah, I'm still. I feel like I'm still learning how to play the bass. That's the journey that I have with this instrument. So yeah.
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. Do you have any advice for young up-and-coming bass players and musicians out there?
Yeah, I think it'll be similar to what I said in the previous question, which is to listen as much as you play. I think particularly when we're young, we want to just play, you know, which is understandable. It's a fun thing to do to play, but I think the joy is in listening, and that being the guiding kind of departure of how to play. Much like how I believe you can only be a good writer if you read. I believe you can only be a good player if you listen, and whether that's listening to other musicians or listening to yourself in relation to your band on stage, you know. Sometimes you can get caught up in what I'm doing, you know, especially when you're young, you're self-conscious, I get it. You want to make sure you're not making too many mistakes, but I really think the best thing that you can do is loving to listen. Listening, for me, is the biggest asset that any musician can have, in my personal opinion.
Wow. Zwide, thank you so much for your time.
I
appreciate this. Yeah. I appreciate this, and I can't wait to hear Jenga.
Yeah, no, you'll love it. I know you'll love it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for liking and sharing this video with your family and friends. Please follow From the Cape with Base on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Thank you so much.